Hello, everybody out there in. Sorry about that. Wow. Hello, everybody out there in internet land. I'm still alive. Things are going really well. Uh, it's been 2 weeks since I last posted, and it's been quite a. It's been wonderful. It's been full of illness. Nothing again, not like when I last posted. Nothing that's going to kill you or anything like this, but just really annoying. I have heard some people calling what our family have got the black lung. It's apparently a almost 2 month long cold slash sinus congestion thing, and it's pretty horrible actually, to be perfectly honest. You just keep coughing, and for me, who has much more trouble with his sinuses and stuff like that, I just have sinus problems all the time. So yeah, it's pretty annoying, but you just learn to live with these things. Once you know what they are, it's a little better, and you can just get treatment. There's always drugs. In the last 2 weeks, we had snow. We were visited by snow. So that was 2 weeks. That was almost 2 weeks ago. So we ended up. I ended up with Monday and Tuesday of last week off due to snow, which is a shame because it now means that we will be running until the middle of June, which is really quite a long time for American schools. For those who are in Britain, that's not that long, but for those that are in American schools, that's a long time. So we'll end up having those tagged on. It was nice to be able to spend some time with Jodie and Hannah and Evan. They got Monday off only, but still, it was fun just to get some time with them, hang out, and just be able to relax a little more and just hang out with each other. I've been doing quite a few gigs. This week I've been at Sunrise, and also at, where else was I? Oh, Rosewood Court, and I've also been at Harbour Point. So yeah, quite busy on the old gig end of things. So that's always fun. School's going well. School is just a bit well, there's just a lot of bugs around, as I was saying, and it's difficult because a lot of the kids want to be very I'm going to say touchy-feely, don't take that the wrong way. They tend to like to give high fives, hugs and stuff like this, and that kind of spreads coughs and sneezes spread diseases, and unfortunately these kids spread diseases all over the place, and I'm one of them that's caught it, and quite a lot of the staff and other kids have got it. So anyway, but that's not a big deal. So for this, also last week on Friday, we were able to speak with Tim and Helen Roberts of Wellspring Church and in Watford, and that was an amazing conversation, and has confirmed something that we've been thinking about for quite a while. And I think, unless something really weird happens, we will be moving back to the UK in July, mid-July, late July sometime. We have to sell the house, we have to get rid of all that stuff, we have to obviously finish our jobs and stuff like that, but it does look like we will be moving back to the UK. I did think about having a mass press conference like LeBron James did for when he moved to the Miami Heat, but there wasn't anybody really wanting to take that press conference. So I will put it like him: we are taking our talents to the UK. We'll be living somewhere around the Watford area. We're hoping for a certain aunt of ours to be living probably closer to the Croxley Green area, and we will be attending Wellspring Church. We don't know what campus yet. Helen and Tim have got ideas for us, which is really nice to have people thinking about you and wanting your talents. But at this point, we don't know what campus we'll be working on, so we'll see what happens there. So yeah, things are moving along. We've got things to look forward to. Now, what has God been speaking to me about? God has been speaking to me about politics. Because politics at the moment in both the UK and the US is pretty controversial. Obviously last year in the UK we had the Brexit debacle which happened, and obviously that's still brewing quite a lot because the exit from Europe has not been triggered, and the people are starting to get a little annoyed. And of course in this country we elected a TV star, or maybe you could call him a businessman, who we never thought would really get elected. And it's been really rough in politics. And God's been speaking to me about this because the fact is I hear a lot of people mocking one side or the other, or screaming and getting very upset at one side or the other. For instance, obviously when the Brexit thing happened in the UK, there was a lot of people that got very upset that people had chosen, and this was by democracy, to leave the European Union. Now, in that case, there may have been a situation where the people were misinformed about what that meant. But it was a democratic vote, and people got their choice. In this country, we have people yelling from the rooftops about that we need a Christian government. We need to legislate certain things. Donald Trump needs to do this, needs to do that, needs to do the other. He's not good at this, he's not good at that. He's an embarrassment to this nation. Specifically with the Christian right in the US, they would like to see a Christian government. And although I would like to see our government do more Christian acts, I wouldn't necessarily want them to legislate Christianity. Legislating Christianity would just make us like Iran or Saudi Arabia. Obviously the difference there is that they are Muslim, but they legislate Islam. We don't want to become a country like that. God doesn't want us to force people to love him, because the fact is nobody's ever been forced to love God. Nobody can be forced to love anyone, actually. That's a full stop, sorry about that. The other side of the matter is that we have a sort of, I wouldn't call them left wing, but a liberal wing that says that Donald Trump and his party just need to be get out of the way. We needed Bernie Sanders. And for those in Britain, Bernie Sanders is nothing to do with Mr. Sanders or Colonel Sanders, the guy that makes Kentucky Fried Chicken. Actually, he's a politician, Bernie Sanders. He's rather liberal and a bit socialist, which is personally more my cup of tea. But at the end of the day, politics is broken. Whether you're in the UK or in the United States. The Bible clearly tells us not to trust in kings and rulers for our salvation. The Bible talks about in Samuel when the Israelites ask for a king. Samuel warns them, using the words of God, that that king's just going to oppress them. He's going to do things they do not like and hate. So at the end of the day, we're doing the same thing when we ask politicians to lead us. We are putting people above, we are putting people in between us and God. Which, when you have millions and millions of people to rule, probably is the right way to do it. But we're not to put our trust in these guys. The other thing I've sort of been hearing about this is we've got to remember that our fight is not against flesh and blood, but it's against the rulers and principalities of this dark age. Donald Trump is not the enemy. Yes, does he do things that I believe are not right? Yeah. But most politicians do. Because the fact is, we do not live in an individual democracy. We live in a representative democracy where politicians do what the people want them to. And sometimes what the people want is not what I want. Sometimes we elect people who don't do even what we want, which has happened in the UK at the moment with the Brexit situation. People are not following through. But that doesn't mean that Theresa May is the enemy. It doesn't mean that Donald Trump is the enemy. We've got to stop fighting against flesh and blood, and we've got to start praying. It's amazing that I want to be really careful with my words here, but I've seen so many people ranting and raving on Facebook about this decision that Donald Trump's made, that decision that Donald Trump's made. But I could almost guarantee you, if I said, hey, why don't we have a prayer night about that? Why don't we start getting together on a daily basis and praying about that? I don't think that they would do it. God is the one that can change things. God is the ruler of all. God made Theresa May. God made Donald Trump. God made all the politicians. He made you and I. And He knows what's going on. And when we cry out to Him, He will change things. We see in the Book of Kings and also Chronicles lots of times where the Israelites go a bit offline. And when they're oppressed, they come back to God. And God heals their land. So I would suggest that maybe if we stopped yelling and shouting about what we want in this land and started praying, it might be a better deal. We might get something done. If my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, God will heal their land. We want to be a people that prays. We want to be Christians that aren't seen as people that just moan and want the government to do their job. We want to do what God tells us now. I was listening to a sermon from Wellspring. Tim actually was preaching this. And it's amazing that a lot of change, big change that happens in countries doesn't happen through political parties. I think of what happened in India with Gandhi. That was one person. Now, of course, people were flocked to him, but that was one person starting something. I think here with Martin Luther King, again, people flocked to him, but he started doing what he was told to and what he believed was right, and he changed the nation. I also think of, from back in my own country, a guy called William Wilberforce. He did what God told him to. and he changed a nation. It's very rarely politicians that change nations. It's individuals doing what God tells them to. So maybe instead of shouting about the injustice that Donald Trump's doing through healthcare, maybe we should start thinking about how we can help somebody who doesn't have healthcare themselves. Maybe instead of shouting about the fact that our education system is messed up, maybe we could become a teacher and start helping with that education from the inside. Maybe if we're so worried about immigrants, we could actually start sponsoring immigrants and come over into the United States and giving them jobs so that they can get green cards. Maybe if we're so bothered about abortion, we should start praying and counseling those young women that are often in the poorest of society about their choices, or even adopting a child. I hope that I haven't offended anybody with this post. I'm not looking to offend somebody. I'm just telling you what I believe God's been telling me. Thank you very much for listening. If you got to the end, well done. I hope to see you very soon, and have a wonderful week.